We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch Da Craze. Catch Da Craze. Welcome to Catch Da Craze Podcast Audio Mix. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with my co-host and brother in arms,
George Medina.
George Medina.
Why you mocking me, bro?
Hello, everybody. I'm George Medina. Like, come on. You got an audience out there ready to see us, hear us.
Listen, I don't think that they would be able to take two people like you sitting on the set going all crazy. We have to have the yin and yang. You have to be the guy that, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, guys? Everything.
You see how he described me? He said, I'm the what is that?
That's you, though. That's the energy guy. You know, you're the hype man.
I'm the hype man, right?
Yeah, man. You're Flavor Flav. You're Flavor Flav with the big.
Yeah, boy. Peace. Hello, can you go? Turn it up.
That's you.
Let a brother know. Remember that?
Yes, I do. Public Enemy, for those who don't know. Oh, man.
Damn.
What's up, bro?
What's up? Yo, what you got to say? Who's on... What did Lover and Dre? Remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember that.
Who's on the show with it? Lisa and Dre. Well, my name is whatever.
Ed, Lisa and Dre.
I used to want
that was Hot 97, right?
Yeah,
that was the morning show, Hot
that was
97?
Hot
Ed, Lisa and Dre,
yes,
was it? Oh,
yes.
shoot. That was back in the day.
Yes, I remember I used to want to call. I used to wait. I was like, come on, get me. I was like, well, my name is Uncle Sam. And never got picked.
Never.
I was like,
You called a few times
I was
and
on
waited
hold.
on hold?
I would never get through. You know, I was always calling, never got through. I was like, oh, come on, it's my turn. I used to rehearse it too.
I used to be
I used to rehearse that stuff, man.
Oh, man.
That's when hip hop was fun.
Yeah. Hip hop's changed, man, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
too much tension.
Hey, listen. I mean, okay, so what is your favorite era of hip hop? Are you like 80s, like Big Daddy Kane and those boys?
See, I appreciate all eras. I mean, all right, now we're going back in time.
Go for it.
Damn. I remember the Get Fresh crew.
Okay.
I remember, what is it? Kumo D, Wild Wild West. I was a big fan of Crush Groove era.
Right.
The Onyx era.
You liked Onyx. 90s.
Naughty by Nature.
Early 90s.
Right. You know.
See, the early 90s, the 90s had, I think there was a big, like, if whatever you liked, there was a hip hop group for, like, you had like De La Soul, you had a Tribe Called Quest, right?
Yes.
You had a Tribe Called Quest. Remember the Far Side?
Brand Nubians. The Far Side, yes.
Far Side.
She keeps on passing
me by, right?
me
So you had
by.
those guys. You had what was that other the Digital Planets, I think it was called?
The Diggable Planets.
Diggable Planets.
Yes.
So you Arrested Development. Remember Arrested Development?
Yes.
Remember them? So you had like something
the Jungle
for everybody.
Brothers?
The Jungle Brothers.
Our House.
You had something for everybody back in those days. And
Yes.
like if you like mellow hip hop, you had the mellow hip hop.
Yes, yeah, Metal Man Ace.
Yep. And then I
Roxanne.
think in the mid 90s it started to change a little bit. Like then you got the Biggies and the Pacs and and those guys.
I remember when Snoop came in the scene.
93, yeah.
What? I mean, he just
92
took
and
over.
3, yep.
He just took
with
over.
Doggy Style, that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doggy Style. Dre.
I remember when
91.
Cypress Hills came in the scene.
Yep. I Could Just Kill a Man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that West Coast, man.
Oh
that
my
West Coast.
God. Here is something you can't understand.
Yeah.
That was oh my gosh. And then House of Pain. Jump around.
House of
Pack it
Pain.
up, pack it in. Let me begin.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh my god.
When Wu-Tang Clan came out.
Yes. METHOD.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, those guys did it big, man. RZA, like that guy had a
still
plan.
do it big.
He had a plan.
They have
bro.
a series. They got a movie.
Oh yeah,
they got everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
They had the Woo Wear. Remember they had the Woo
What?
Wear? They started their own line of clothes.
Everybody wanted to be. You remember Smith and Wesson?
Yeah. Smith and Wesson.
Bucktown, home of the original gun clappers.
The Lost
I
Boys.
got 5
Remember the Lost
MCs
Boys?
that won a contest. We got your deuces ready, hanging over the tree. You remember that? Oh my gosh, that was just
dude.
Remember nice and smooth as funk.
Yeah.
Oh.
Remember Punks Jump Up to Get Beat Down? Remember that
Yes.
song?
That's
Punks
Cypress
Jump
Hills.
Up to Get
That's Cypress
Beat-
Hills.
No, that wasn't Cypress.
Yes,
That
it
was
is. Ain't nothing but a beat down. Yes.
punks jump up to get. No, it's Brand Nubian.
Oh yeah, Brand Nubians. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Brand Nubians. Yes.
Yeah, no, those were the days, man.
Yes.
I mean, we sound like old men right now. I mean, listen, I listen to some of the new stuff. Like
I like J. Cole.
I like J. Cole. I was just gonna say his name. I like J. Cole. I do like J. Cole, and it's funny how that's the guy we know, and I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head right now.
I like Wayne stuff, Lil Wayne.
You like Lil Wayne?
Yeah, I like some of his stuff.
What about Drake? Be honest, you like Drake?
I like Drake.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Drake, you could bop to.
Right.
What's his name from the Bronx? What's the other guy's name? He's down with Diddy.
Which one?
He's on Diddy's records. Man, now you're gonna make me look it up. What's his name?
But yeah, I mean, what I don't like is like the whole mumble rap bull crap, where I don't even understand what the hell you're saying.
Yes.
Like I understand that we have Fushnickens. I mean, I understand we had.
No, we don't got.
I understand we had like the fast rapping rappers back in the day too, where we didn't understand what the hell they were saying. But I mean, listen, man. Like today's mumble rappers, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Oh, those guys kill me, bro.
Yeah.
That's just out of control.
Well, I don't understand what they're saying. It's it ain't my thing.
Yeah.
I do like.
Well, I like lyricists, bro. Like I like when you can understand what they're saying. You're like, oh wow, that sounded pretty cool. There's a show on Netflix, with. Were you ever a fan of Fat Joe?
Yeah, of course. Terror Squad. Yeah. Yes.
So.
Funny story about that.
We hitting it early today.
Here we go. It's I met Fat Joe at the Fever in the Bronx, which was, if you ever were into hip hop, you had to be at the Fever. When he first released Flo Joe.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was there. What's his name? Picking Boogers. What's his name?
Picking Boogers.
The rapper.
Big Pun? What do you mean Picking
No.
Boogers? Oh, no, Big Pun wasn't around yet.
But you say he just a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby,
geez.
you.
Biz Markie.
So Biz Markie was there. Onyx was there. Fat Joe was there at the Fever. And it was like cloudy at the Fever because everybody was puffing the Magic Dragon.
No
but yeah, I remember Fat Joe when he first released.
You got a Flo Joe? You got a Flo Joe? You got a
Bust
Flo
it,
Joe?
check it. Yes, that was the stuff.
Wow. Who's your favorite rapper?
Of all time?
Favorite rapper of all time?
It would be Rakim.
Rakim, favorite rapper of all time.
I'm Rakim. I mean, Slip the Juice.
Enough to go around.
Oh my gosh! I mean, check.
He was a pioneer in that storytelling kind of rap.
Yeah.
You know, like he told stories. Like he told street stories.
Yes.
So he was definitely a pioneer. And then, you know, other rappers kind of took from that, and you know, Biggie took from that, and Pac took from that, and stuff like that. So Rakim is your boy.
Yeah. I mean, he has the soundtracks of all soundtracks, and you could just work out to, you know, it's like the hype stuff, and I just love the way he flowed. You know, I think like Eminem pre-war Eminem, because like he's like on that rampage.
What do you mean pre-war?
He's like in battle mode right now. So I like the Eminem, the storyteller Eminem. Right now he's in battle mode. Like he wants to destroy everybody.
I've always felt like he was an angry rapper though.
Well, I think it's what I don't understand, because he is the illest lyricist. I mean, you think about it.
You like him lyrically?
Yes.
You think he's the best lyricist you've
but
ever
I
heard?
feel like he has to prove that he's still number one when he doesn't have to prove anything. He has the accolades. He has the reputation. You don't have to prove to all these guys that are trying to get a name for themselves. You don't have to even waste your time. I think he just go out and just have fun. I think the Eminem that was having fun, the Eminem that was just like raw and just.
But he's used to that battle rap. That's how he came up. He came up in the battling, you know, people who wanted to take you. I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying.
Sit on your crown, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and just watch everyone below.
But he hasn't. I mean, what was the last album? Did you like the last album he had? I thought it was okay. It wasn't like.
I think Rap God was crazy. It was awesome.
Rap God, that song, Rap God was
that was ill. I mean, I love that. I mean, I love when he does the ciphers. You know, like on BET Awards or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
an album that you've heard, like, I don't know, I just feel like he hasn't put out like an album where you could listen to the whole thing.
No, right now I've been listening to all the different rappers that are doing their spin-off of I'm So Brooklyn, and then so they have the I'm So Brooklyn, then they have I'm So Bronx, whatever, and they're representing the hoods. I think that's pretty cool. It's like this hit thing that's going out. I just love rap music. Like I don't think, I love all kinds of music, but I love hip hop. I grew up in hip hop.
You still like it even today, even with what?
Yeah, because there's a lot of good stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm driving, I'm on Hot 97.
Okay.
I just love, there are times where they'll play a song that I'm like, I'm changing the channel right now. But most of the time I'm listening to it, 80% of the time.
Yeah.
But
I think that part of I think what we liked about like that the eras that we're talking about was how original everything felt and how different things were, right? And I don't know, and that goes to what we were discussing before the show, original ideas.
Right. So if you were talking about originality, when you think about the dawning of hip hop, there was so much creativity, so much originality. It was everyone was playing, exploring.
Yep.
Now it's just making money. I want to rap to make money. Back then it was an art form. When you had the Kumo D's and you had the Big Daddy Kane, everyone had a special flair. LL Cool J with the Kango. Everybody had that signature mark that you knew, whether it was their style of dressing. My Adidas Run DMC.
I was just gonna say that Adidas gave him a deal based on that song.
Right. So when you think about back then, there was pure originality. I think now it's, everyone knows we can make money. I'm gonna make money, and I'm gonna, do that.
I think part of it is just like some of it is gimmicky. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's to make that, and they do. They make they make so much money. Like the music industry, when you get signed, if you really make you make tons of money. Cardi B's paid, and I'm not a big fan of Cardi B. I don't really like Cardi B.
What is it?
Yeah, I'm not. But that chick has money. Her boyfriend, the guy Offset, I've never heard a song. Mm-hmm. I might have heard a song of his, and I didn't even know it was him. Mm-hmm. That's how disconnected I am, I guess, nowadays.
I only knew of Offset because of all the fighting.
Right.
Every time you hear news,
I don't even know about his music. I know about the ring he bought her. So,
yes.
That's what it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get it. Back in the days, rappers used to always wear the gold chains and all that. So it's always been about that kind of flash money and stuff like that. But I feel like.
But Cardi's original.
You like Cardi?
I like the way she flows.
She's a chick from the Bronx, bro.
I like the way I can listen to her music. I like the way she flows. That's the extent of the what I like. It's like I was listening to the other day. She has that raw.
She sounds like a little boy.
Voice. That it's like jeez. Like I like Remy Ma. I think she is a great battle rapper and MC. I like there are some rappers out there that have this distinct voice, and I like to it.
See, it's gonna sound stupid, but I like Nicki Minaj.
I do too. I think she has a great flow.
I would take her over Cardi. Like if I had to choose, I would in today's rap like that. I would take Nicki.
But that's the great
Cardi.
thing about you have options.
Yeah.
Right. But again, you were talking about originality. Is there anything original anymore?
Right.
Right. So here's a quote from Mark Twain: "There is no such thing as a new idea. It is impossible. We simply take a lot of old ideas and put them into a sort of mental kaleidoscope. We give them a turn and then make new and curious combinations. We keep on turning and making new combinations indefinitely, but they are the same old pieces of colored glass that have been in use through all the ages."
So Mark Twain's like, nope.
He says no.
Nothing's original.
It ain't original.
Everything's been done.
And think, I think that ideas are inspired by others, right? So you're right. You're taking, for instance, think about Apple, right? So the mouse, Steve Jobs stole the mouse idea from IBM, and he made it a lot more user-friendly, right? You think about the iPhone came from the Walkman, the telephone, right, and a computer all rolled up in one.
So that's more of an evolution. You're saying.
Right. But those are ideas. It's like, how
what do we need? Yeah,
we can talk, listen, play, all these things, whatever. So it wasn't original. He says, I'm going to take those three concepts and make it into one concept. So there's some form of originality because it's the first of its kind, but something else gave birth to it. Right. And I think that's.
I agree. I don't think that there are. You can't. In other words, if I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think of a story, right? I don't think that I'll be able to come up with a story that nobody's ever, told before.
Right.
Whenever they ask somebody to, okay, what's your pitch? They always say it's this meets that. Right? You ever heard that? Like when they're telling, okay, what's your story about? Oh, well, it's this story meets this story. Oh, that's your story. Okay, so you combine these two stories, and that's your story. Now all of a sudden it's your original idea. But it really isn't, because you basically have to, in order to sell it, somebody has to be able to, oh, okay, reminds me of that. And if I like that, I'm going to like your story.
Yes. This is a cross between, we heard it with our previous guest, if I'm correct. Yes. Timeline wise, right? Where we heard it from
with Mark last week,
right? He was like, well, I took it from this character, from this, and then I wanted to look like this guy, right? So that definitely was
inspirations.
Right.
It inspires you to do. Yeah. Right. I mean, we have the discussion, and it's funny because Anibal was the one that was like, yo, you know what? That would be an interesting story, and I don't know exactly what his take is on it. I don't know if he's pro originality or says that there isn't any more originality. But I think I really don't. I agree with you. I think that something has always the stories of what's his name? Shakespeare, for example. Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so you look at that story and you've read that story, and you're like, oh, that story was amazing. And then you look at a movie like Underworld.
Oh,
right? Underworld. Yeah. You have the Lycans and you have the vampires, right? And she loves him. They're not supposed to be together. That's Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah. Troy.
But it's original. Why? Because it's done. It's
a spin.
It's a spin on it. So that's
hence
right.
The kaleidoscope.
The kaleidoscope metaphor. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense. So I think that people will say, oh, that's not original. I mean,
Think about it. J.R. Tolkien spawned a whole series of copycats or spin-offs when you think about what transcended from the Lord of the Rings, right? And all the other stories that, gave birth to it. So, I mean, it's you have to have the beginning in order to have a middle, in order to get to the end. And somewhere along the lines, something's going to influence you. I can tell you I can't draw unless I'm looking at something that influences me. Right. I need to see. I need to appreciate other people's work.
Yeah.
And sometimes I try to mimic that style. Right. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
It happens. I don't think you can control it anymore because there's so much stuff out there already.
Right.
You're going to be influenced by something. I mean, even if you don't want to, you watch TV, you read the newspaper, you are online, you look at apps. Something's gonna, somebody's always gonna be able to say, "Oh, that sounds like that." Well, yeah, it probably does because, it's out there. I can't help it. I can't help but, write stuff. As they say, write what you know, right? So like, it is what it is. You're gonna end up writing something that you've read or you've heard or it's inspired. By
where
something.
is the line?
Right.
At what point does it become plagiarism? Right.
Speak
on it.
At what point are you just straight biting like that? Right. You just bite like that's rip off. At what point does it become a rip off? And that's the thin line you got to be careful of, because you may love a show so much that you write a story that's that show with different names.
I mean, I was watching the whole thing with Joe Rogan, his beef with Carlos Mencia, I guess it is, because he was ripping him
stealing jokes,
right? At what point,
was that the beef? It was that beef?
Yeah.
Carlos Mencia was taking
other people's
Rogan's
jokes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I heard about that. I didn't know specifically whose jokes he was taking.
Yeah. So, and I know there was a lot of beef about that. I mean, I think that's where I could tell you that, like, Cosmic Wars, I was a big fan when I was a kid of Cosmic Cow and Alf. Right? And so it was a spin-off. And for me, it's like those two influences. It's like, all right, I loved Alf, Gordon Shumway, Gordon send him into outer space.
That's a good show, man. Yes, you used to eat cats, though. That was weird.
Yeah, boy. You're a kitty.
Alien life form. Yes. How brilliant is that?
That was fantastic.
Alf.
Yes.
That's great.
But we didn't even talk about who our guest show.
Oh, snap.
We have a guest on the show today.
We do. We do have a guest on our show tonight.
That's no bueno, George.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to lead me into that. Fernando Ruiz.
Yes.
Illustrator and cartoonist. He's actually an artist on Archie. He's also a teacher at the Kubert School.
Yes.
And so we're gonna have him on the show. Pick his brain a little bit about the industry, how he got into it, how he became a teacher and where he came from, and all that stuff. So that should be fun, man.
And we could thank our boy Anibal Arroyo, who actually recommended Fernando to us.
That's right, because he's a teacher. Like I said, he's a teacher at Kubert School, and Anibal went to the Kubert School when he was teaching there. He was like,
I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah. Listen, man, the Kuberts, Andy, and I mean the dad, obviously, but Andy and Adam, great artists, dude.
Yeah.
Their artwork. Did you ever read that book Origin, the Wolverine graphic novel?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Dude, the artwork in that is so simple. Like it's not. I mean, it's great looking. It's just
the one with the on the cover with the wheat. Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that it looks like a Tom Sawyer cover.
Yes.
That's a great book. But yeah, I definitely would love to go to that school and check it out and see.
Yeah, maybe for now, give us a tour.
Right.
we could do a live show from over there.
From the Kubert School.
What? Set it up.
Well, you got to tell them when we get on the phone with them.
Make it happen.
That's right.
Playing around. No, but I think that's fascinating. I think we got 7 weeks for the year left before the New Year's.
That's right.
And we have a couple of minutes before our guest comes on the show. But you've thought about your New Year's resolution?
You know what? I don't really do New Year's resolutions.
No?
I don't. Do you? You do that?
No.
Have you thought about your New Year's resolution? No. I don't do them.
No. Because here's what I don't wait to the end of the year to say I'm going to do this. Okay. I just do it. Okay. I try to work out.
This year I'm going to do this. You don't do that.
No, I try to work out as much as I can.
Right.
I do bench press 340 right now, which is really good. I could do it 4 times.
Where's your gym? Downstairs? Basement?
Yeah. One thing I need to do is I want to be able to read 1 book a week. If I can teach myself,
like a novel, not comic book,
no,
not graphic novel.
I'm talking about a novel. I want to read one book a week. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of motivational speakers. I do a lot of research, especially for this show. But I don't actually sit down. Like in my bedroom, I have a man chair by the window, and specifically for me to read, and I haven't been able to do it. And I want to. If I had to have some sort of resolution, it would be to commit to 1 book a week.
It's hard, and I think that the reason why I can't commit to it is because I feel like I could be doing something else with this time, because it's just not enough time in a day.
Yeah.
So like for you to sit down and read a book, I mean, listen, the last book I read was this book called Devil in the White City. And it's actually, I like stories like bioepics or stories that deal in like real time. Like, so this book is about the World Fair in Chicago back in 1930 something, I think. As the fair was coming along, there was a serial killer that was kind of also in the city, special, like killing people throughout the city. And it's the book is about those 2 worlds where like it's called The Devil and that's the last book I read. And I got hooked on that thing, bro. I was like reading. So in order for me to be able to do that, I would have to be hooked on a book that I'm like, I have to read this book tonight. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. You know?
I read a lot of self-help books, but I think the last actual novel I read was The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I read the whole thing. I preferred that over the movie.
Yeah. That was a great book, bro. Yes. That's one book, and it's thick. That's one book that kept me.
Yes.
Kept me reading. I was like, holy cow.
I used to read a lot of Star Wars novels, and have a bunch of them. But I really haven't gotten. I think for me, creativity is spawned from my, just going into different worlds.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to do that.
No, it's. And that's the thing, right? So you start reading these books, and you don't want to copy that stuff too much, but you're going to be influenced by whatever you read. That's just what's going to happen.
Right.
But what do you like to read? Like, you like to read
I like fantasy. I like sci-fi. I like mystery. I like autobiographies. Like I read the whole Sammy the Bull
Oh yeah,
book.
that's what I'm saying. Bioepics. I love reading that stuff.
Yes.
I love reading. Like I read that book, Killing Pablo, about Pablo Escobar. Like I love reading books like that.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a really good book. If I am going to do like you ever heard of Mitch Albom?
Yes, I think when we used to do the books with John,
Oh,
he
okay.
did a whole segment on Mitch Albom.
Yeah, he's got some great books, bro. He's got a book called The Five People You Meet in Heaven.
Yes.
Great book, dude.
Yes.
And they're short. They're quick reads.
I own the book. I haven't read it yet.
Oh yeah, no, read it, dude.
Yes.
That's a great book. And then he's got like a continuation to that book, and it's called The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. And his books are really easy to read. He wrote like Tuesdays with Maury.
Right.
He's done his books. I like his books. His books are really good. They made a movie actually out of it, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, originality, man.
Caller.
Welcome to Catch Da Craze. We have our special guest, Fernando Ruiz. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming.
Fernando, what's up, man? It's George.
Hey, George. How are you?
Good, not bad, buddy, not bad. Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Pronounce your name for us.
Fernando Ruiz?
Fernando Ruiz. Now, at any point, like, because I remember when I was younger, like, my name is George, but I spell it with a J, so it's always been Jorge Medina. Do you ever feel like you have to pronounce it a certain way when you're pronouncing your name?
Nah.
Right?
That's
It's
how
always.
I pronounced it my whole life.
There you go. That's me too. I was like, I'm just George, and this guy
So-
wants me to do all kinds of.
I was just gonna say Fernando Ruiz. I was gonna, I was just saying.
Well, that sounds nice.
Right? That's what I'm saying. You need a great introduction. Why not,
Fernando, he's rolling the R's and everything.
Absolutely.
That's
Wow, I
amazing.
may be using that from now on. That'll go over great in class.
Right, absolutely. Hey, do they call you Mr. Ruiz or do they just call you Fernando in school?
They call me Mr. Ruiz for about 5 minutes. Then after that, it's Fernando all the rest of the year.
Wow. So for those who don't know, you teach at the Joe Kubert School, right?
Yep,
And you
yep.
started doing that when? Back in, how long have you been teaching?
Oh, this is my 24th year. I started in 95.
Wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
it kind of gets away from you.
Yeah, right? Time flies. And you went to the
It sure
school
does.
too, right?
Yeah. I attended. I graduated in 91.
Mm.
No, I'm sorry. I started in 91. I graduated in 94. So I was away from the school for a year before they asked me to come back and teach.
Wow, that's amazing. How, I mean, like, how did that happen? Like, I mean, you must have been like a grade A student. They were like, hey, dude, you got to come back and teach some classes over here.
No, they were just desperate.
Oh, man. Where did you grow up, Fernando? Just,
I
just.
grew up in North Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
Bergen County, New Jersey, right about half hour outside of New York City.
Okay. And you were always into comics. You just loved the medium.
Yeah. As a kid, I loved cartoons. I loved comics. I read comics, I guess, since I was about 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
And those were probably my earliest art lessons, was just sitting down and drawing the pictures out of the comics that I liked and the characters that I liked.
Who were some of your favorite artists?
Well, probably one of the biggest influences I had was Kurt Swan, who was a Superman artist. He drew Superman for about 50 years. And I was a big Superman fan. I loved Superman, and he was drawing all the books. So probably my earliest art lessons was sitting down and copying his drawings. Kurt Schaffenberger was another Superman artist. He was drawing Superboy at the time, and that was probably the first superhero book that I was following as a kid.
Right. Wow. So that led you to basically say, you know what, I need to go to school and learn how to make these comics.
Well, in a roundabout way.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I mean, I was reading comics all through high school, and then I had to go to college, and I knew I wanted to do something with art.
Right.
But I didn't think you could really make a living at comics. So I went to college, a regular college, Caldwell College in Caldwell, New Jersey. And I was a fine art major.
Right.
And that while I was there, I actually considered being a fine artist, painting landscapes for galleries and things like that. So that's an even crazier way to make a living than comics. So
Right.
when I graduated from college, I decided to give comics a serious try before I had to really get serious and get a real job. So that's when I went to the Kubert School.
I see. So what's your style? Because I know you also draw Archie, right, for Archie Comics. What is your style more like? Is it like how did you develop your style? Because I mean, was it just from? I mean, obviously you were looking at your favorite artists and you were drawing what they were drawing. But how did you develop that your particular style?
I just I never think about style, and I tell this to my students too. Don't think about style. Just draw whatever you want or whatever you need to. And I was always open to any kind of, I just wanted to work in comics. I didn't care what comics I was doing. And at the Kubert School, one of the great things is we have teachers who've drawn all over the place, drawn every type of commercial art that you could think of. So I got experience drawing all sorts of different types of things. So we would get assignments where I'd have to draw like serious superhero stuff. And then we'd get like, Archie style stories, cartoonier stuff.
Yeah.
And I embraced it all because, at the end of the day, I knew each one of those styles, each one of those things that we were doing would amount to a different job. So I just wanted to be capable of doing anything that came along. And I was lucky. It worked out for me because it was Archie pages that I did in school that actually got me my first job, which was with Archie Comics.
Wow. So yeah, so now you went to the Kubert School. So now for those, I mean, obviously, for those who don't know how the school is structured, is it's a high school, right?
No, it's actually it's a vocational school.
Okay.
So the students have to have either a high school diploma or equivalency.
Okay.
So it's really college age and up.
Ah, okay.
And it's the intense. It's like the West Point of comics, of cartooning. You're there 5 days a week, 8:30 to 3:15. You have 2 classes a day. Each class is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
So you have one class before lunch and another one after lunch, and you're drawing 5 days a week there in school.
Wow. And what do you teach?
It's changed, but this year I'm teaching probably what I teach most often, which is narrative art and basic drawing to all the first year groups. Wow.
Do you remember a gentleman by the name of Anibal Arroyo?
Oh yeah, of course, Annabelle Arroyo,
yes.
Of course.
Yes, he was the one that actually told us. He's like, listen, you guys have to have Fernando on the show. He's great. He's a teacher at school. He's like, he was
great.
Yeah, and he loved that class, the narrative class. I didn't realize that he taught it.
I remember him well. He did great. He was very talented.
Yeah. We met him actually at a convention, and Sam was working on a book because we do independent comics. And he asked him to show us some of the stuff that he had, and he was drawing a book called Forbidden, and his narrative art, it was like we were like, holy cow, like the way where he would put the camera. I was like, what? And he was going to the I think he was going to the Kubert School at the time.
Yes.
And
he was good.
Yeah,
he was very good. He was a natural.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. But so you're teaching that this year, and then so you went to the school, you took these classes. And then after you graduated from the Kubert School, now, did they set you up with like some kind of internships, or how does that work once you graduate?
Well, one of the great things about the school is the school's relationships to all of the companies out
Right.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these companies, they all come to the school.
Right.
Many of these companies have representatives on the school's advisory committee,
Oh,
so they
wow.
come to the school to, just tell us what we need to be doing.
Right.
But they all come every year to review our students' portfolios, which is, I mean, that's almost worth the price of admission
Absolutely.
right there.
Absolutely.
You could go to comic conventions every year, but you're going to be on a line with 200 other guys trying to get your work shown to an editor.
That's right. That's right.
You're on the same line as the little kid who drew Wolverine in his math notebook.
Exactly.
But here at the school, you're probably in a room with maybe 20 other students, and you've got a Marvel editor all to yourself, or a DC editor all to yourself.
And you're building relationships with these people too. So you're not just the face in the crowd. They know who you are. They know your name.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really the point of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great if they hire you on the spot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was lucky that happened to me.
Right.
But that doesn't happen every time. So what we tell the students is the main thing is get a business card, get a name that you can stay in touch with after you graduate, and you can keep sending them your stuff, and then who knows what will happen one day.
There's another gentleman that I actually met. We met at a Dunkin' Donuts in Jersey. His name is Tony Ojeda. I don't know if you know him.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a student a couple of years ago, not that long ago.
Yeah, the funny thing is we met him like the night before a convention. We met him at a Dunkin' Donuts in Jersey. And he, like this young kid, he's like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get into the Kubert School. And we're like, dude, and then Anibal was there. And he was like, you're going to do great, dude. You're going to get in there. And sure enough, he got into school. And now he's a graduate of the school. And he's doing stuff, he's doing his own stuff. But that's how amazing that school is, that you can, like you said, go in there. And if you want to be, if you're serious about comic book artist or being, in the industry, I think that's the perfect place to
absolutely.
To go. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's so much that you need to know these days. It really makes a difference.
And you guys run the gamut there, right? Because you're not just teaching, how to draw. You're teaching about the business of comics. You're teaching how to color. You're teaching all kinds of different things about the industry itself, right?
Oh yeah. It's a total commercial art curriculum. Our big emphasis is comics, and that's what we're mostly known for, but it's all commercial art. And aside from drawing and, the computer and all the technical stuff that you need to know, we also do teach, the business of existing as a commercial artist, which is, covers a lot of stuff that we never think of when when we're 12 and we dream of drawing the X-Men for a living. We don't think of, well, gee, someday I'm going to have to pay taxes.
Right. Right. Yeah. You don't think about that, right? You only think about the glitz and glamour of the industry once you make it, if you make it.
Exactly.
That's crazy. So tell me a little bit. I mean, I'm just going to go back a little bit. Tell me about your upbringing. Sure. Like when you were growing up, was artwork something that I would say maybe your parents, said, yeah, go for it? Or was it something that they were just like, what are you doing? Go get a job, go get something that's going to make you some money. Like what was that like growing up?
I got to hand it to them. They never expressed a doubt, at least not to me.
That's amazing. Yeah.
They were very encouraging, and anything I needed, my mother was a teacher, and anything I needed, she, any art supplies, she never hesitated to go out and get it for me. And I was always drawing from an early age. I like I said, I like the comics, and I'm drawing. And they never questioned or doubted it when I said I want to be a comic book artist. they were so supportive. They're like, "Oh, you're going to be another Walt Disney." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'll settle to just eat."
Did you want to do your own, create your own stuff at any point, or?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone, especially if you write a little bit, I think everyone comes up with their own characters.
Right.
And certainly when I was a kid, I was always coming up with my own characters too.
Yeah.
And they were all thinly disguised versions of the characters I was already reading,
Right. We were just talking about that. Like right before you came on the air, we were talking about originality and how things influence what we do, what we write, what we draw. You like something,
sure.
so you go ahead and you kind of repeat that, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a different name. It's like, that's Moon Knight, I'm gonna call him Dark Knight. Like, you just make things a little different and say, okay, that's mine. But as you get older, you realize, you know what, maybe I should just stop copying so much and try to come up with something a little more, I want to say original, but a little different.
It's true. Yeah, I think we all go through that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, tell me about how you were chosen to, like you said, they offered you that job on the spot. So how did that whole Archie gig come about?
Well, it's interesting. One of the teachers at the school is the legendary Hy Eisman. Hy had been teaching at the school since it was founded. And he had drawn Archie, so right. he actually gave us our first Archie assignment. And when I handed mine in, he said, "Oh, these are pretty good. You should show them to Archie when they come." Now, when I graduated, my graduating class was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, it was small.
Yeah.
But out of those 14, we were all young guys.
Yeah.
We all grew up reading comics. Everybody in my class wanted to draw Spider-Man.
Sure.
So Archie comes along, and nobody wanted to draw Archie because that was like a little kid book.
Yeah.
But man, I guess I was always money hungry because I just thought, well, it's still a job.
Absolutely, it's your name.
So So I drew my best damn Archie that I could, and Victor Grelick, who was the managing editor of Archie. Yeah, actually, Victor's still up there. He's been at Archie since 1958.
Wow.
And Dan DeCarlo, who was like the most legendary Archie artist ever. They both came out to the school, and they took a look at most of the portfolios, and really, they saw a lot of the guys just didn't really give it a shot.
Right.
But they liked what I could do. I mean, they could tell that, I was serious about it. Right. And I looked at those pages not too long ago, and I said, oh man, they were really generous that day.
Oh, so you're very critical about your own work. Years later.
But I think you have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do they let you deviate from what the character looks like at Archie, or do they basically say, no, this is what he looks like, and this is how you're going to draw him? Yeah,
back then, it was you had to draw like DeCarlo.
Right. Right.
DeCarlo he was Archie's Jack Kirby. So they would. My first day up at the office, they gave me like a whole stack of Xeroxes of DeCarlo's pages. They gave me 1 million of the comics, and they gave me a script, and I said, "Here you go, make it look like all of these."
Wow.
So, that's what I did. I sat down with all of his pages, all of his books, and I did my best to try and imitate his style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you can't help but still let your own individual spin creep in. Right. As much as you try to emulate another artist, there's still going to be your own little things that get in there. And then, after doing it for a few years, they trust you more, and they let you, do your own thing more.
Right.
So, eventually I became like a fusion of, I guess, Dan DeCarlo and myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you were able to at some point put your spin on it a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah,
and the characters.
as I went along, you can't help but do that.
Right. Yeah, of course. And how old were you at that time, Fernando?
I was 24.
24 years old when you started drawing Archie. And how long now have you been drawing for them?
I worked for Archie regularly for 22 years.
Jeez.
So about 2016.
Man, that's amazing. They did.
Yeah.
They've done so much with that character as well, too. Like in recent years, where they did so many different things with him, and even with the show out Riverdale.
Yeah. Well, now it's more open than ever.
Right.
I mean, now it's not so much draw like DeCarlo. I
Right.
mean, people are allowed to do their own thing with Archie, and they made him more modern.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different thing now.
Have you ever attempted or wanted to work for the other two, Marvel and for the big two, Marvel and DC?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I submitted samples to them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's always tough though to break in.
Right.
I mean, they liked what I could do, but there wouldn't be like any work at the time.
Right.
So, and when I was doing that, Archie was just keeping me busier and busier.
Sure.
So, after a while, you say, I could keep drawing these pages for DC for free,
right.
or just keep doing Archie stuff that's paying me.
That's right. That's right.
Archie won out.
Yeah. Were there dreams of drawing Superman in there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
My two dream jobs would have been Superman and the Legion of Superheroes.
Huh. So you're more of a DC guy.
Yeah, growing up, I guess I read more of the DC books.
Yeah.
Eventually it became 50-50 because,
right.
I like Superman and the Legion. But then I became big into Spider-Man and the X-Men too. So I guess it ended up being 50-50.
Now, being a big Superman fan, I'm just going to ask you something out of the blue. What did you think about the movies that DC was coming out? As far as like the Batman versus Supermans and all that other stuff, did you think that they did a good job with that, or do you think that they maybe might have rushed those movies?
Well, I wasn't really a fan.
Wow.
I grew up with the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
And one of the things I gotta hand it to, I know nowadays kids today, they can poke a lot of fun at those movies.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll hand it to them about is they never. It was the Superman from the comic book.
Right. They never deviated.
They didn't deviate,
yeah.
And the producers, the directors, they didn't say, you know what, we need to fix Superman,
right.
or we need to change Superman.
That's right.
They said, oh, he wears blue tights and a cape in the comic book.
That's what he's going to wear.
That's the way we're going to make him look in the movie.
Yeah.
And he acts like nerdy Clark Kent, and nobody can see through the glasses.
Right.
All this is going to be in the movie.
It's going to stay. I don't care how silly it may sound. This is what it is, and this is how it's going to be. You're right.
Right. And
right.
There wasn't like when I see modern superhero movies, there's almost a little bit of an arrogance in them that there was a producer, a director who felt like he knew better than the audience, than the creators.
Right.
And, so, Superman is going around in a costume that looks like it's made out of a basketball.
Yeah. Let's take his tights off. Now he's not going to have tights anymore. Like, take the curl. When they took the curl off, Fernando, I was very upset. I'm like, wait, what? He doesn't have a curl anymore? Are you serious?
Oh, man.
Dude,
that was the least of it.
I'm like, what the hell? But even little things like that, And I got to say, Christopher Reeve, to me, is still the best Superman. Like, the way he could flip back and forth between Superman and Clark Kent was just amazing to me.
That really, when you see him do that, that really proves, that convinces me that a pair of glasses can be the best disguise in the world.
Seriously, when he's telling Lois Lane that he's really Superman, he takes off those glasses and then he straightens up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, yeah, look, it's Superman. You're like, what the hell? It's amazing acting in that little bit. You're like, holy cow.
there's that one scene when he's in Lois's apartment and she's in another room, and he's there as Clark Kent, and he's considering telling her.
Yes.
And he takes off his glasses and he straightens up, and I swear he grows about 3 inches.
That's exactly right.
It's a physical transformation, and he totally sells it.
Right.
Christopher Reeve really does not get enough credit for that.
And there was no CGI. There was no CGI back then. So here's this man. He literally transformed right in front of your eyes. And it was amazing to see, because you're right. It's like this guy's transforming right in front of us. It's amazing. It really is. Yeah, no, it really is.
His voice, everything.
Yeah, yeah. And as a fan of Superman, I'm sure you appreciated that even more than anybody else.
Oh, I love those movies. Those movies just cemented my love for the character.
Oh, absolutely. So, Fernando, so now, so you're teaching at the Kubert School. Now, do you how many days a week are you there? Are you there all 5 days a week, or how does your schedule work?
Well, I teach 3 days a week. And, whatever else they need me for. I teach night classes. We do have night classes. And the night classes are for, anybody can sign up for those.
Like continuing education type of thing, where like if you wanted to kind of take some classes on the side, you can go there and just take some classes?
Yeah. It's not even for credits or anything. So if you just wanted to, say you wanted to learn how to draw, or you just wanted to take a basic drawing class, we also offer a figure drawing class. Nice. So if you wanted to draw from a model. Okay. So that, that gives an option to people who can't do like the full-time curriculum,
Right. Yeah.
If you can't commit to the whole week.
Right.
There's that night class option. So. And that's seasonal. That runs for 6 weeks every season.
I see. Okay. And then, so what are you doing as far as your own artwork stuff? Are you doing anything? Are you working on anything for yourself, or Archie?
Yeah, I've been lucky to keep busy. After Archie, I was drawing a lot of different things for Dynamite Comics. So I've drawn Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark, Betty Page. I've drawn that for them. I also draw for Pixie Tricks Comics, which is a web comics company started by Giselle Legacy. And even though they do web comics, they have every year they do a Kickstarter to offer to be able to fund print collections of their web comics. And as part of their Kickstarter, they always do stretch goals where they'll offer bonus books and one shots and specials, and I'll draw a couple of those a year.
Gotcha. Okay. And then there's something about an anthology called what is it? Die Kitty Die.
Die Kitty Die. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a self-published, independent. I created that with my friend Dan Parent.
Okay.
Who he's another Archie guy and another graduate of the school. So we created that on our own on the side, and we've been doing that now for about 3 years. Every year we fund that with a Kickstarter ourselves.
Okay.
And every year we're able to do a hardcover, and it goes out to our Kickstarter supporters. But then we also offer it for sale on our own website, diekittydie.com.
So what's the story about? What's Die Kitty Die about?
Oh, well, in Die Kitty Die, it's about this beautiful witch named Kitty Ravencraft. And she's a witch, but she's also had her own comic book series for many, many years.
Oh, shoot.
And she's the star of that comic book.
Right.
And her publisher, like a lot of publishers today, he wants to spike her sales by killing her off. But he wants to kill her off in real life.
Oh, so that's Die Kitty Die.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did this? Where did you guys come up with the idea? That sounds cool.
We came up with the idea on a plane trip to Dallas. We were on our way to a convention, and we've been talking about like doing something ourselves. And for all the years, I mean, at this point, I'd been at Archie 20 years. Dan, I think, had been there almost 30,
Right.
25. He'd been there longer.
Yeah.
And all that time, we'd never worked together. we never worked on anything with each other. So, we said, we should really do something. So just batting ideas back and forth, we very quickly realized that we wanted to do like the same thing.
Right.
And it was like within minutes, I think we maybe had come up with the title first, but then we got the whole idea down very quickly. We did the whole idea on that one flight. By the end of the flight, we're scribbling out sketches of the character, and even our sketches like looked alike. We were both very much on the same page about what we wanted to do.
Oh man, that's so cool. So now then is it like an ongoing series, or do you guys do like because I think it's an anthology of stories, or?
No, it's actually it's been 3 hardcovers so far. Each hardcover has it's structured so that each hardcover is a collection of 4 issues.
Okay.
We've been doing individual issues that we offer as PDFs.
Right.
And they're available on Comixology and Gumroad. But then what we would do is we would collect these PDFs as the hardcover. So we've done 3 of those. Each one is its own self-contained story.
Okay.
There is like an overall continuity. So,
right.
Your best bet is to read them in order, but each book can be read individually.
Gotcha.
So next year we hope to do our 4th one.
Sweet. And you got a figurine, a Kitty Ravencraft.
Yeah,
figurine?
we have for this past Kickstarter, we were able to fund a Die Kitty Die figurine that is available on our store.
Okay.
Yeah, diekittydie.com. If you go to the store, you can order the Die Kitty Die statue.
Right.
It's a great gift idea.
Absolutely. It's a great gift idea for the holidays coming up. Get yourself
Absolutely.
a Die Kitty Die figurine. No, that's awesome. Now, I mean, we can talk for hours. I know we're running a little bit out of time, but I'm always fascinated by collaborations, right, with artists. So you guys got together, decided to come up with the story, and you guys are both working on it. So how do you guys split the duties? Like, who do you pencil it and he inks it, and then you guys both color it, or how does that work?
We're able to work pretty independently. So what we do is we usually meet for lunch, and over lunch we like outline the whole story.
Okay.
And each issue is 20 pages.
Right.
And within those 20 pages, we have 4 chapters. So what we do is we divide up each issue between us so that we each do 2 chapters or 10 pages.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So once we have our story down, Dan goes off, he writes his chapter, I write my chapter. We're constantly, messaging them back and forth. And then we just draw our chapters. And we're both like, we've both been Archie-fied to the point where we have, there's a similarity in our style, although you could tell who is who, but it still makes the overall book kind of seamless,
Right. And that's important, right? Because it's kind of, it tricks the eye into saying, okay, this looks like the same. Wait, that's not the same art. But you can't really tell because it's not that different. The styles aren't that different where you kind of get, sometimes you get turned off by that. Yeah.
You could tell, but it's not disturbingly so.
Right, exactly. That's the word, disturbing. Yeah. Wow, that sounds awesome. And I definitely have to check this out. So diekittydie.com, that's where you can get the books. If you wanted to order them, you have a store there, I'm assuming that you can just order stuff there. And
we have a store, and you could order books. You could order. We have a Die Kitty Die coloring book that you can get.
Oh, nice.
And the doll.
All right, and then you can also, and then I guess you'll have links there for your next Kickstarter on there as well, right?
Oh yeah, on the Die Kitty Die site, we always have links whenever we have a Kickstarter going. Absolutely. And people could also follow us on our own social media. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have I also do a YouTube channel now.
Oh, sweet.
Where I do like art lessons. I do videos of art lessons. So people can find me on YouTube too.
All right. So if they Google Fernando Ruiz, they'll be able to find you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Fernando, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us a little bit about the industry and about your work. That's amazing.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. And Sam, I think, wants a tour of the school. Right, Sam?
Come on by. Come on by anytime.
All right, cool.
Tell them I sent you, and they'll treat you right.
We definitely will. Fernando, thank you so much. You are the man. We really appreciate this.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care, man.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Should I rap again?
You got another one? You got another one in you?
No, that's the same beat.
Well, different lyrics. I'm saying it's the same beat. But I got another one.
What's up? That was a good interview.
Yeah, man. Very, very good. Thank you, Anibal.
Thank you,
appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
Anibal Arroyo. Anibal Arroyo.
It would have been funny if I was like, "Oh, Anibal Arroyo." He's like, "Who?" I would have been like,
Anibal Arroyo.
He's like, "Wait, who's that?"
I want arroz con pollo.
I knew that was coming. Anibal, you knew that was coming, right? Anyway, yeah, man. It's that was good.
But he called him Annibal.
Yes.
Right? Hannibal, like Hannibal Lecter.
Like Hannibal. Yeah, he did. But yeah, no, that was good. That was good. He's very, very nice. I mean, he's Archie, and he's got this Die Kitty Die. I gotta check that out. Dude, I'm looking at the last Kickstarter they did had 571 backers, and they pledged $54,000 to their Kickstarter campaign.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say 50?
Yeah, something like that.
He said 54.
54K. 54K.
What?
Yeah.
I can't even get
and that's 500 people. That's 500 people.
I haven't got a nickel.
Dude, this stuff is kind of sick, man. I kind of like this stuff.
To kill a cat.
Die kitty cat. I mean, die kitty die. Die kitty cat. Well, no, she's a witch who has a very, I mean,
Her name is Kitty?
Her name is Kitty. She has a Kitty Ravencraft. And she's a very popular, she's got her own comic book in the comic book. So there's a comic book within the comic book, very successful comic book. Her publisher feels like, to boost sales, we should kill your character. And she's like, what? But he really wants to kill her. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just killing the character, it's killing her.
Right.
That's why it's called Die Kitty Die. And yeah, man, it's legit, bro. I like this.
Do you? Yeah, I'm pulling it up. How much money did they raise? Oh, life ain't fair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Say it ain't so.
Dude. He's doing it.
Wow, there it is.
He's doing it big Willie style, baby.
Man, nah.
Look at that.
Nah.
Oh, this figurine is kind of sick too.
Huh?
The figurine looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's got T-shirts, clothing for sale. Look at this coloring book.
Wow, they're on point.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, definitely
we gotta get down with the get down.
Yeah, no, this is cool, man. Dude, I'm about to go take some night classes at the Kubert School.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, huh?
Right? That's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
I'd like to maybe schedule, 2020, do it like a live broadcast from the Kubert School.
From the Kubert School, yeah.
That'd be pretty hot.
Yeah, it'd be dope, man.
Yeah. Yo, don't you out there try to take our ideas. All right? Don't you believe it. No, that was a good show. What else is coming down the pike?
So next week will be my very good friend Jerry. He's gonna, dude. He draws everything on the tablet, and his stuff is very photorealistic. He has photo shoots for his comics.
Does he?
He'll go out there. He'll shoot the models, and then he'll come back and he'll draw them. I gotta ask him about how he does that because
he has
it
a
looks
lot of
crazy.
models.
Yeah, he has He has like 5 books that he's working on at the same time.
It's like, yo, where's he getting the dough, bro?
He's out of control, bro. He's good. He's a hustler.
I'm a hustler. I'm a
so
hustler.
He'll be on the show next week, and then after that, it'll take us right into December, and
Christmas.
and then into Christmas and New Year.
Christmas time is here.
All that other fun stuff.
George is like, every time this guy starts up, he starts up.
What are you guys doing for? Are you going to Texas for Christmas?
No, she's going away for Thanksgiving.
Oh, where are you gonna be?
I gotta work.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I have to work. Unfortunately, I'll be working from 8 a.m. till whatever.
You gotta work, and then you gotta
On
upload.
Thanksgiving.
And you gotta upload
Yes,
an episode on.
yeah. Don't remind me, homie. This guy's tripping. Yo, Herb, you're supposed to be handling this technical stuff, Herb.
Yo, Herb is gonna get fired.
You're
bro.
fired. You're
You have to
fired.
fire Herb.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be working. So I'm sending her away. To she doesn't have to go through this drama since I have to work. And Christmas I'll be working.
That's the life. That's the life.
That's the life.
That's the life of
Yes.
that industry.
Yeah.
You working on holidays. It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. It doesn't
It
matter.
don't be matter.
My vacation won't be till January.
So how are things coming along on your Forbidden?
How are things coming on the lettering?
I got everything you sent me pretty much done. I don't have
Oh,
them
because
with
I
me.
got more.
You got more? Send me
I got more.
Send me some more.
I'm waiting for the final pages. He sent me the layouts for the final issue for the first 10 pages. I'm waiting for the problem was I had him signed up for a few issues, and then I decided to write that final one because I needed to have that climactic ending. And he had signed on another project at the same time, so he's doing both at the same time. So I told him, I said, all right, as long as I have it by January, so he has plenty of time. So that's going, and this here is, oh my goodness, you don't understand the technical issues and all the learnings with broadcasting and what is it, simulcasting and all this other stuff with casts. I had to the last shows, for some reason, when we were recording, there was a lot of static coming through on the video. So I had to splice the audio to match the lips on the video. Thank goodness I was recording the audio on a separate line versus the video. So that's becoming, so I believe I solved that problem. I had to go and pull out the wallet, and I had to go and upgrade because my computer is 2007. So I had to get a newer model.
You bought this is a new computer?
Yes.
Oh.
And
it's thinner.
Yes,
The other one's
and
over
it supports all the cameras.
there. Oh,
It's built.
no more glitching.
No more glitching. So it solved it because I couldn't solve the problem on my laptop. I couldn't solve it on my iMac. And this iMac, I can't upgrade past. That's it. They won't let me upgrade.
Obsolete. Done. You got to get a new one.
I had to get.
All right.
Apple don't play.
Apple don't play.
They're ruthless.
Apple don't play.
They are ruthless.
Apple don't play.
I have a perfectly good iMac that I cannot go beyond OS
One
something.
Yeah, one of those.
It won't go to this El Cardinal, whatever it is. So I couldn't get the latest versions of
the
programs that I'm using. The Sons of Biscuit Eaters.
So there you are. So you have to get.
And then my MacBook Pro does not have the capability to multicast, and that's what I was having all my problems with.
So now it's smooth sailing. Now we're good.
Now
We're
we're
good.
and that's
Clear.
so today was the day that I installed it all.
Oh,
So
okay.
all morning, since 8 a.m, I've been locked up behind this desk,
Gotcha.
setting this
Getting
up,
it ready.
redoing all of the images and
And
everything else, and
And I'm over here trying to show up on Wednesday and Thursday.
yes, sons of a. And this homeboy, he's like, "Yo, you said you're gonna upload." I did upload the audio.
Which one?
The audio on the 30th on Halloween.
Oh.
If you look at Facebook, you'll see on the 31st I uploaded it, but I was too tired to go and do it on Instagram and say it's
The
there.
people want it. The people
It
want
was there on Facebook.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so now we're good. I'm excited because we're on Spotify. I'm excited because we're on iHeartRadio.
Radio.
We're all over the place, and we have
Sweet.
and hopefully And we had a great live broadcast. Our first broadcast was on YouTube, so hopefully that's
So it's on YouTube.
yeah, YouTube.
It was on YouTube. I mean, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's one of those things.
All right, good.
It's one of those things.
Good. I
where-
can't wait to
where
see
we
it
go
again.
back to go
I can't
forward.
wait to see it again.
Yes, I
Can't
know.
wait to see it again.
Just to see her.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So that's on Catch the Craze 1, right? Like if you go into YouTube, Catch the Craze 1, boom.
yes,
You'll find us.
And yes, and
Yeah.
we'll be able to engage with our audience, and we have a special guest too.
Yeah. There's also a link. I put a link on my website,
Mhm.
medinawip.com. Medina, WIP, we is poor, whatever. .com.
We is Poe.
Medina, work in progress.
That's what it is. We is Poe.
Medina, WIP, WIP.com.
Yes. Show me the money.
Go on there. There's a link right at the bottom to the YouTube channel. So if you want to check us out at any time, we've done about what? Like we've done about the new episodes.
The new
about
episodes.
7 or 8 new episodes.
Ocho Cinco.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So check us out there, and then check us out on all the other platforms. And if you have your own way of getting podcasts, I'm sure if you type in Catch the Craze, will come up because we're all over the place. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
So it's a good year. Next year is gonna be a bigger year. If you want to be on the show, you know how to get down. Just subscribe to on one of our platforms. Reach out to us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Just say, yo, I produce, I write, I act, I sing, I dance, whatever it is. I want to get down with the get down, and we'll look you up and we'll set it up. So we're already booked up for the rest of the year.
That's right.
So we're looking for 2020 guests. So if you want to get down in 2020, give us a holler. If not, don't even bother. But I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera,
I'm George Medina.
and you're watching Catch Da Craze.
Peace.
So what do we do here?
Oh man. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on this.
Watch the show.